the Agent Academy podcast where we sit down with business leaders that are getting it done. And let me tell you about Chelsea Hamre. Let's see if she's getting it done here. Started the business in 2019, and let's go to 2021, 22, and 23. 18 million, 34 million, 41 million. Last time we chatted, you were at 47 million. So note, you guys, already, and that was through middle October, had already beat her 2022 numbers as an individual agent. So I'm real excited to chat with Chelsea and find out how she's made it happen in such a short time. Welcome, Chelsea.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to having a conversation with you and digging through how I've been able to grow my business.
So quick question. Are you still at that 47 million number waiting for some stuff to creep over, or what's going on? Give us what is this? November 17th. What's going on?
November 17th, I'm at 48. I'm really hoping to get to that 50. I'm striving for it. The last sprint. We'll see if it happens, but that's what I'm striving for. And it's definitely not time to give up or pull away from the throttle. So I'm going to get there.
Well, and you're lucky because in Canada, you've got your Thanksgiving behind you. See, in the US, they'd be thinking, oh, I've got Thanksgiving and people are going to be shut down. I want to work, but let's jump in. So take us back real quickly to the beginning and your first year and talk about just real quickly the challenges, the frustrations, and then ultimately, though, because I can remember mine, we could go on for hours about all mine my first year. What were your major discoveries in that first year that then year two, you went from 4 closings, August to December, year one, and then the next year you did 48. So what was it like getting started?
Yeah, well, that big pivotal moment for me between going from 4 to 48 was setting my goals for that year. I really didn't have as much expectation for myself as I do now, because I've set the bar high for myself and I like exceeding that bar. But that pivotal moment of setting my goals, looking back, probably that December, January of 2019 into 2020. And I remember going to an event and I had written down 20. That was my goal. And I went to an event and somebody told me, if you want to be a rising star, you need to do at least 40 deals. I was like, 40, oh my gosh, like I only did 4. That would be 10 times my business of last year. But I also have 8 more months to do business and I'll have my feet going. I'm like, you know what? I can do it. And I'm a very visual person. I write down my goals. I write down like my yearly, quarterly, monthly, and even weekly and daily goals. And I wrote it down and I surpassed that. And looking back, that was also the COVID year. 2020 is where everything shut down and people were at the same playing field. Some people decided to work and some people decided to stay home in their jammies. I took
jammies, I love it.
I took the work and studied it and got on training and crushed it in real estate training as well. And that really helped exceed my business, give me a foundation, the mentorship from our team as well. I'm a 3rd generation realtor. I get to work for my dad and my uncle who give me great mentorship too. So it was great to have leadership from them, but without leveraging them for my success. Like being handed things, that definitely wasn't the case. And you know that, John. And you know how they are.
I know firsthand. Just for the listeners and watchers, I've worked with her dad and her uncle for almost 4 years and known Steve for 10 years. And they're tough on you in a really good way. I think it's worked out pretty good though.
Absolutely. And I'm thankful they're that way and not the other. But yeah, definitely. And, taking the training and investing into my business and my time into the business and my training, and not just focusing on necessarily where I'm going to get things. It's how am I going to get there? It's not
Talk
one.
about training real quick, Chelsea,
Yeah.
because it'd be easy because I see it a lot. And I happen to know because we've known each other for years now too, but I want people to really hear this. So you start experiencing some success and you've been to trainings and at that point in time, okay, hey, listen, I'm a 30, then $40 million producer. At that point in time, did I'm just going to back off the trainings and I'm going to back off, I've got what I need. Or would you say that you double down? What have you done over these years as your business has had this massive growth trajectory? Especially this year in a time where people aren't doing it. I mean, you're going to land up 20%, 25% over last year is about what you're pacing right now. Talk about the intensity of your training over the years. Did it flatten out? Has it gone up? What's it look like?
It's gone up. It's gone from, I can think when I started, maybe I did. Now I've listened to podcasts like every day. But training and taking time and blocking that time, that's gone up. I do at least 3 to 4 hours of training per week. And that's my own investment. That's outside of my team trainings that we have. Every morning we have an 8:30 meeting. I count that like that's training, but that's on top of those 8:30 team trainings that we do. I do my own, whether that's, investing in coaching, investing in learning something new. It could be, taking time and, dialing down and looking at, okay, well, I've learned this. So how do I apply it? That I count as training as well. And not just listening and absorbing and taking it in, but taking action on it too, which is so important. People spend all this money on training and going to events just to say they went there, but they don't actually implement anything. So what's the point, right?
You've kind of got a straight pipeline though, too. Of course, you've sought it out and you've made the investment, but you probably have a pretty good direct pipeline to Anthony Lamacchia, our good friend, I'm guessing too.
Yes.
And,
Yeah, I do.
he probably has some good input. Has a lot of the training that you've consumed and continue to watch and follow, a lot of it Anthony's?
Yes. Yeah. A lot of it is Crushing in Real Estate from Anthony Lamacchia.
Let's talk about this one. It's a really simple question, but it's very complicated. And you hear me say it all the time, simple solves the complex. And it's complicated because many are struggling that came out of COVID, or many are struggling that came out of how the market was and how it is. And the simplicity is that, okay, you've got to do more, you've got to do different, and you do really well, like but you're rare. What was the mindset for you when you saw the market changing, interest rates, and the leads coming in and maybe not being aspirational buyers, which I think we saw a lot of? What was the shift for you? Because I think right now, at the recording of this, it's a big challenge for people adjusting. Many haven't, and for many, it's passing them up.
Mindset's a big one. And I'm very competitive, especially with myself. I am my biggest competition. And I never want to be, and that's a fear of mine. I never want to be that person that's a has-been. Or that has been, people say like Chelsea Hamre, who? Or, oh yeah, she was so successful way back when, and what happened to her? I never, ever want that to be I don't want those being words coming out of people's mouths, nor my reputation. And my biggest competition is myself. And I am obsessed with how can I be better? How can I be better with myself, but also looking at my numbers, looking at my volume, my units, but in a way that's mentally okay. You can't dive in down the black hole of then you're just getting crushed. Some months are better than others, some weeks are better than others, and days too. But setting your goals really helps me, and being able to win the day. He said that the other day, and I love that. To win the day and look at, okay, what do I need to accomplish? Not my tasks, but what do I need to accomplish that'll give me the mindset that I've done something and that I can keep doing it. But I'm definitely competitive with myself the most. And I think that
We talked about that the other day too.
other
You,
people.
you with Steve, you with your uncle. That was great. I'm going to beat you, Steve. Oh, that is so good. The when you're looking at your business and the training, and I can still remember the training that I got, and I'm still, going to training and learning and growing. But there's also a core competency because there's so many things people can do, but if you pick a few things and do them really, really well, what would you say that you do really, really well if you're looking back at this body of work that and these accomplishments, these families that you've served? If you look back at it, what would you say are the core competencies, the things that have been so critical that are non-negotiables that have made this happen for you?
A big non-negotiable for me is 1 video a week minimum. And that started when I first started doing video, was actually doing video. I was doing video before, but I'd put a story here and there, and it wasn't as authentic.
You were doing secret videos, right? I remember I get people doing videos and they go, I'll do a story. I'm like, come on, that's a chicken video, right?
It's a cop out. It's a cop out. But yeah, I remember doing like one of my first ones, and I saw it as you get those memories. And it made me laugh so much just because of how different it is than today. And that grows with confidence and doing more video. But then it went from stories to, okay, once every month to once every 2 weeks. And now it's a non-negotiable. It has to be once a week. You got to find something to do a video on. And some weeks are easier than others in terms of finding inspiration, but there's always something that you can do a video on, and people want to hear about it, and people want to know what's going on, and people are genuinely interested. And now, not that I don't know that other people expect it, but if I don't do it, like, again, it's me v me, like, I'm screwed. Like, I have to hold myself accountable to that. And that's my number one non-negotiable. And that's helped me. That's helped me in my business, and it's helped me build relationships, and it's helped me get to know people and connect with people without meeting them in person, and giving me opportunities that I might not have had, or definitely wouldn't have had I put myself out there.
Really good. Let's go a little bit further on that because it's interesting. You've seen it since you first got in the business. I know I can look back in 2019, my goodness, and I was talking about it years before that, and yet people are still just trying to get on that bandwagon of doing it. So you've got the video, you've got the content. How do you use it? Do you use it in video text directly to people across social media, and then also share with us the results that go with it? Because people can say, oh, social media doesn't work, and oh, I don't want to video text people. But what channels are you using and vehicles to move it, and how's it working for you?
Yeah, so I do personal videos and then my social media videos. So personal videos would be one-to-one to a client. Those have worked really well when I'm first meeting a client, after a meeting with a client. Like, hey, John, it was a pleasure meeting you today during our showing, and then recap what they've said to you. So they know that you were listening, they've been heard. Recap that. And it doesn't need to be more than 30 seconds. Or after listing, or a closing date. I love
Now, so you don't have to go set an appointment with the videographer with the company and sit in the studio and make sure it's a perfect day. You actually just maybe do it selfie mode.
Yep, selfie mode. It's just my phone. My only production is my phone. iPhone. That's it. That's
Right.
it. And that's the same. So those are my one-on-one videos, and then my social videos are also used with my phone. And these are, what happened last night, what's going on today, what's going on in the market, a fun story. It could be an experience. It could also be something local. That's just with my phone. And as time has passed too, I've learned to be more in the moment with that, which has been good and more authentic, rather than having, a digital background or some fake stuff going on, or filters. The more real you are, the more success you'll have with the video, because the more people feel connected to you and they feel like you're real, which is really important. and to create that relatability and reliability and that like no trust. But definitely, and I heard this the other day, somebody asked me, well, I've been posting videos, but I haven't received anything yet. Well, it's not just about the receiving, it's also the more you do later down the road. And I've had 5 deals this year from people sending me a message that I've met a few years ago. 2 of them I met at a football game. And then I connected with them. I followed them on social media, on Instagram specifically. They've seen my stuff over and over and over. So when they thought of buying, who came top of mind? Me. Rather me than somebody else who doesn't post, right? I became that first person that they thought of, and that created a great opportunity for me and clients. It doesn't happen overnight. And I think that's a big misconception that people think is, oh, if I post for 5 weeks consistently, I'll get 5 new clients. That doesn't happen. It's just like when you call somebody, when you're cold calling, you're not always going to get the person, and you most likely will not get the person on the first try. Or if you go door knocking, or it's the same, you need to be repetitive. It's the same concept, just a different output.
Right. And so when you wake up, and I want people to hear this, are you wake, okay, I'm doing a video, I'm going to make X dollars. What's my ROI? So obsessed with that. Or was it, something? Video is a part of what I do every single day to win the day. And I'm focused on the process. I trust the process. I'm not obsessed over ROI. How do you approach it?
The second piece, I'm obsessed with the process, because I know the more I'm doing within the process, the outcome will follow. I find if you just think of the outcome, you get lost. You're in that rabbit hole or you look at a mountain and you're trying to climb that mountain. You're like, where am I going to go? But you got to start with the steps. Or recently I ran a 10K, and that was my first 10K. I forgot what
Right. That's right. I remember when your first video you did, I think it was either a video or a picture where you're talking about it. Here I go.
Yeah. And was I cute and had makeup and cute hair? No. it was post run. My cheeks were red. I was sweaty. My hair was a mess, but I put it out there. And that takes confidence, but it also takes being authentic and being real. And people really connected with that. But when I look at that scenario versus, somebody growing their business, you have to start somewhere. So it started with me walking. Then it started me adding a few kilometers. And then I completed the 10K. It was my best run. It was my best time. And now I'm doing another one in May. So you have to trust the process and be obsessed with the process. And, that took me going for runs 3 times a week. I was not a runner. But if you apply that to business, I'm not a video person. Well, once you start doing video, you are a video person. You have to start somewhere.
It was interesting. I was speaking with someone that does really, really big business. Average sales price, I think, is 3 to 4 million. And they're getting beat out by what they said were bigger brands. And I said, and they said, what do I do? And I said, well, you just used the word, your branding. And they didn't want to go big media. And I said, well, tell me about video. What's your video initiative? I won't do video. I'm like, I can't help you. I mean, and we're talking about someone doing big, big business. I want to stay into, and it's kind of neat because we didn't, pre-frame this at all. Hey, you want to meet? Let's do a podcast and chat. But I think it's really important because people miss these things. And earlier I said, simple solves the complex. Do you think sharing your journey in doing the 10K on social, do you think that has an impact on your business, and would have sharing those type of things have an impact on other agents' business over time?
100%. 100%. I had people people felt invested in my run, and people wanted to know, hey, how'd it go? And once I completed it, and I ended up going to an event later September, like 2 weeks after the run, and with other realtors, and people brought it up, and I was fascinated, but it also, like, of course people were watching, but yeah, people were definitely invested into it, and it created a connection. And now somebody who, you know, might not be thinking of just real estate, but might be looking at my running journey, or, thinks like, oh, it's cool, she's putting herself out there. Well, that translates into my business later on. Subtly
It's
not, it does.
so simple. Looking at coming into, when did you, and thank you for that. I think that people overlook it. We talk about it all the time. I mean, and you said it earlier, know, like, trust. Well, gosh, the more I know about you, the more connection points I can have. I mean, my goodness, dog lovers. I mean, my dog almost gets more likes on Facebook than my granddaughter. They're in a battle with each other, but those are connection points. Grandpa, then you'll see people make comments of grandpa, and of course, how the dogs go. When did you see and feel and notice the market was changing? And what, if anything, did you do different? Certainly, Ottawa's a government employee-based marketplace, but you guys have had your same experiences in the change in the market. When did you see the change and the requirement for you to do things different? And what have you done different, if anything, to continue on this path?
It was Q4 of 2022 where I started seeing the change.
Mhm.
And I think that's where most people started seeing a shift. And it kind of brought me back to 2020 of, okay, you can be in your jammies or grow your business. So I really took
I'm
that.
going to put that as one of the bullet points. It's so good. You can be in your jammies or you can grow your business. It's so good. Oh, that is
I
so
took
good.
the business again. I took that route. I didn't stay in my jammies. Last year I took, or Q4 of last year, I took the time to connect with people again, and that really helped me with this year. I know, not I think, I know it did.
Talk about that, connecting with them. Go deep on that one, because it's huge and a lot of people miss it.
Yeah, so I took the time not only with those clients that I had at that time, whether they were active clients, but my clients who had bought and sold with me before. I took time to reach out to them, to do a pop by, go for coffee, get in front of them again, because our market was so go, go, go. So, as many other markets were, everything was rushed, where you didn't have that same time to build that same connection. And once I started growing those deeper connections, I knew I had missed something. So it was going back, looking back at, okay, where can I spend more time with people? Who can I connect with? And there were some people that had bought earlier in the winter, or even the winter the year before, where we had said, let's catch up, let's go for coffee. And we just didn't. We ran out of time. So it was going back to those people and connecting with them again. And that did go a long way. I also took that time to dig deeper with those active clients, and take a bit more notes, or take a bit more time, and be a bit more open on both sides to creating those relationships. And that's definitely been helpful in pivoting for this year. The market did pick up at the beginning of the year, and has continued, but I kept that core value of relationship, and being intentional with that, and my time too. A big word of mine this year was intention, and being intentional when and present when I'm with people. What are my goals? What am I trying to do? How do I want to be perceived? And digging on a deeper level.
Really good. The talk to everyone right now as you look at, let's say, these last 6 months of the year. How are you? What are the conversations like with the buyers? Are you having to have more conversations to get the same result? Are they challenging conversations? What is that looking like? Because the biggest, what you've just shared and demonstrated is, interestingly enough, is the percentage of agents that will go back and speak to their past clients. Number one is so low, and then it shows up number two in that follow-up of the multiple contacts that are required. What are you feeling, hearing, and seeing with the consumer today that you're working with? And what's it take? What would you say to an agent it's going to take for them, closing out 2023 and going into 2024?
It does take more time for sure. The conversations are more thorough, but slower, I would say, where you're not information overload all at once, almost like segmenting it in chunks, where we'll have our initial buyer consultation. And then I'm not giving all my information out now because I don't want to overwhelm them. I think because of the news and the media, there's a lot of people getting overwhelmed, and for better or for worse, and taking a step back and making sure that their questions are answered is really important, and laying out all the steps. I'm finding I need to be a bit more, again, thorough on the step by step, rather than just, you can't go from A to Z. And buyers are deciding to see more properties than they have in the past too, to make sure that for them, they're making that right decision. And they can right now, because there is great opportunity out there. There's great deals to be had. The average days on market is higher. So they do have the chance to go and see it again if they want to. And that definitely helps, but it also puts them at ease. You're like, oh yeah, she has my back, which we do in any market. But it really puts them at ease, knowing, I find, especially first-time home buyers, knowing they have the step-by-step. It's almost, they need that checklist of, I've done A, so I can do B.
So with this meteoric rise in your business and the attention to detail, and I want people to hear this, the attention to detail she demonstrates in the relationship. Attention to detail in the relationship. What's been really neat is you've evolved to teaching and speaking, and talk about that, because there's a couple parts to it. It's I think next to dying, public speaking scares the daylights out of people. Talk about how that has evolved for you. Why do you do it, and are you going to continue to do it? And what's the reward for you in that?
I enjoy doing it. I didn't think, looking back at 2019 me, when I was 23 years old, I thought.
You hear that, you guys? 2019, 23 years old. My daughter is older than Chelsea.
Yeah, so I didn't think that would be part of my real estate journey. And it started with Anthony Lamacchia asking me to be on a panel for his Crush It.
That's kind of like doing stories, right? Like video, do a story.
Yeah.
And start on a panel. I get it now.
There is a parallel with that. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And it was fun. And I am way more comfortable doing a video than public speaking at first glance. I do get those butterflies, a bit of nervousness, but I have been doing public speaking my whole life. I have a degree in marketing where we had a whole presentations class, and that was the best class I took, because it did help me with my business today, whether it's video or being in person.
You are public speak. I mean, we are all public speakers. You're presenting to a buyer, to a seller on the phone. I mean, it's a critical skill.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Whether you're in front one-on-one or in front of 3 people or 300 people, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's finding those people in the crowd, for me, that are smiling and listening. That's what grounds me. But yeah, I enjoy it. It's something that I've been able to pick up. So from the panel to, I did a couple of my own presentations this year. You invited me on the Agent Academy, which is virtual.
Yes, let them know what February 7th, 8th in Hollywood. Chelsea will be one of our speakers.
I'm really excited for that and to share. And it's something that has created also credibility in a sense, and authority online. So, when we're posting online too, and that brings me back to, the video and your posts and everything like that isn't necessarily just for the buyer or the seller, but it could be a referral opportunity. It can be a connection with another realtor that can help you grow your business, right? And if it wasn't for that, I don't think I'd be where I am today. I absolutely would not be where I am today. But I do enjoy it, and that's something that I want to keep doing.
How do you, and this just hit me because I hear it from your pal Britt, and she's 20 years into it. And I know you're super humble. You're like a little nuclear power plant. There's just steam that comes out of it, but I know there's a fire in that sucker. But I know you have a humble heart. And I want to ask this question because I hear it a lot, and I'll call people out a lot on it. You're super, super humble, but you're willing to share your story. Many people, Chelsea, how do you get over the fact of, I don't want to look like I'm just, this self-promoter. I'm so wonderful, ego. Because that's one of the things people have a challenge with. How are you able to, I'm going to let people know I'm speaking. I saw the great post you did about speaking for a sales challenge. How do you do that? Because you know what's interesting? Many people don't want to do it because they think it's ego-based, and it's not. What gets you to do that? Because I think that can be a breakthrough for people.
It's putting yourself out there, but also, like, I never thought of it as an ego thing. Like, to me, it was, well, I need to share this. It was the sharing aspect of it, not necessarily, like, I didn't even think of the ego part of it. My ego.
You're going from your heart. This is my responsibility to pass it on.
Yeah, absolutely. And that goes from me sharing, a success story like that, or sharing a client story. It's not to be like, hey, I did another deal. Look at me, high five. It's not about that. It's about sharing the experience and letting people hear it, and, using my voice and using my personality to be there and to be an influence to people.
Well, I'll say this, I'm partial. And I think this, I was raised by a single mom, and she was in real estate, and I'm an advocate for women in business. And there's two parts to it. Just period, doesn't matter women. A highly competent person like yourself has a responsibility to put it out there, period. And number two, being an example to other women. You've made comments about Brittany too, is being that inspiration. She's got 2 little girls, and she works and wants to do that. And so I want people to hear that and know that you need to share that, because it doesn't matter whether you're man or woman, you need to share, but B, so you can pave the way for other women in business. I think it's just really, really important. Go ahead.
I look up to Brittany, and you know that.
Yeah. And she's so funny too. She's humble. She's like, I says, Chelsea digs you, man. She really? I'm like, yeah, come on. You're cool. You're cooler than me. I said, my business grew because I married you. Come on. And I've had people ask me that a lot.
Well, people find people that they relate to and connect. I connect with you too, John, but
yeah,
there's like this, I'm a girl's girl, so.
Right. Of course. So here's my final piece. And thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you and your contributions. And I know many will be inspired by this. What would you say, and it's nothing magical, what would you say is the most critical thing that an individual agent needs to focus on in 2024, whether it's mindset, it's strategy, it's tactic? What would you say is the one thing they need to obsess with as they close out this year and go into 2024?
Implementation. Obsess on implementing what you've learned, implementing what other people do, implementing what will help you grow your business, not just thinking about it, not just sitting in your jammies and thinking about it, but
the best.
implementing it. And I think that will help people grow their business.
Yeah, really, really good. Well, I appreciate you. I can't wait to see you out in Hollywood. That's when I'll see you. February 7th and 8th will be in Hollywood. Everyone will get to see you take that stage. And it'll be a neat time too, because you'll be almost 45 days into the new year, and we'll get real time. And like we always like to do is bring it, from the trenches. No theory, proven and tested, and you are proven, you are tested. And I appreciate you, Chelsea. Have an awesome day, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, John, and thanks to those listening.
Hey, wait 1 second. Where can they find you? How about if I do that?
Yeah, good call. On Instagram, Chels Hamre, CHELSHAMRE, and on Facebook, Chelsea Hamre, my full name.
And don't complicate it, you guys. Like there's no secrets behind it. There's a secret. She shows up, see what she's doing, and rip off and deploy. That's it. I mean, it's really good artists cheat, great artists copy. We'll see y'all later. Thanks, Chelsea.
Thanks.